Default's a bitch. Now, if default's a bitch for a guy who's done billions of dollars in deals, what's it going to be for you, spineless mouse? That's exactly right. It's going to be a bitch. And I told him that at the beginning, but even a guy with 27 years, well, I know I can get, no, you can't. When I tell you the building's going to collapse on you, you stupid cocksucker, get out of the fucking building. Even though it looks, well, there's no earthquake, get out of the building, okay? Okay, so now the takeaways. Number one, his deals are in hundreds of millions deals. Cross borders have slowed him down, okay? But everybody thinks they can get a cross-border deal done, but they're hard, okay? Next, he has meeting all his board members face-to-face, which is an oxymoron, really, but it's not, because most of the kids don't want to meet him face-to-face because you're going to shit your pants, you're going to perspire, you're going to embarrass yourself, and you know it. I don't have to tell you. You know, so why not just do it on a, Some of the kids that are doing it, not coming through the program, are actually trying to do these deals on a text. And Scott, oh, please. It's embarrassing to the system. It's embarrassing to Andrew Carnegie. I mean, who did the first deal like this. Okay. The next takeaway is that and it's really important. You're going to email me in a report that so-and-so who's, let's say that you're in Cleveland and this guy's in Los Angeles, and you're going to meet face-to-face with the board. And should I pay for it? No. If they want to be in the deal, the fuckface can fly on his nickel. And no, you don't put him in a hotel. And no, you don't buy him a dinner. First of all, you got no money. Let's call a spade a fucking shovel. Let's be truthful. Remember, there's intergalactic truth, there's intercontinental truth, and then there's our motherfucking truth. You're busted broke, most of you. So let's not try to, it's one thing to dress for success, but there's a whole other thing spending money for success. Doesn't cost any money to buy a good suit, or no real money anyway. Okay. So they're coming on hit their own nickel, okay? Again, he's meeting all his board members eyeball to eyeball. And this is consistent with the older guy. Not so much with the younger guys, even though you should. I met everybody eyeball to eyeball, okay? And when you meet these guys eyeball to eyeball, dry your hands. So far, everybody I shook hands with yesterday, hands were wet. And you know who you were, okay? Well, now, Gitz, he's smart. He's going to dry his hands before he shakes my hand. Dry your hands and get some energy in you. I used to stand by the elevator and jump up and down. Get some blood in me, because I was given 6, 8, 9 presentations Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So by Thursday, and I drank like a fish every fucking night. And I fucked like a whore every fucking night. I had a hangover every fucking morning. I used to run around Central Park twice, which is about 10 miles, throwing up from my hangovers. But I still was at first meeting 9 o'clock. So when I got tired Thursday afternoon, there was a reason for it. And there were 4 or 5 women that were just as tired as I was. You're not going to do that. You're going to do 2 meetings a week, maybe. But your hands are still going to be sweating. Okay, so eyeball to eyeball. The next thing is that he emphasized emotional bank account. He calls it emotional bank balance. But you don't even have to say the right words. Emotional bank balance. Bank is the same as emotional bank account. And default's a bitch. Now, if default's a bitch for a guy who's done billions of dollars in deals, what's it going to be for you, spineless mouse? That's exactly right. It's going to be a bitch. It is a bitch. No matter who comes out of here, default's a bitch. Because as soon as you have a little success, you want to share it because you're insecure. It might be the first thing you ever did that was worth a shit. And you got to tell somebody. You can't help it. And then they tell you, what are you, stupid? You wasted your money going to the fucking castle. The castle man's the only guy that benefited. You can't do deals without equity. And he said that you blow him away because nobody is teaching you can do deals with no money except me. And nobody's doing deals with no money except me. Me to my extended use. Okay, now he made a comment about the accountant's office, the PwC partners. When you go start interviewing, he goes to the accountants first, and then the second, when they're pitching you to use their services, you bring your CFO and perhaps your accountant that's on your board. But when they put you in an office this big, that means they don't like you and or your deal, and it's a perfunctory meeting. That means it's a bullshit meeting. You're wasting your time. But you need to practice, so still do it. Bless you. Still do it. When I go to a meeting, the norm of the boardroom is 3 times this big. They've got 9 partners. They've laid out a bar, sandwiches, caviar, because they know I'm a rainmaker. I make shit happen, but still have the meeting. But we're going to teach you about when you, 2-3 days before the meeting, you send an email, whoever you're corresponding with, or you have your virtual assistant, which you don't have, which is really you, pretending you have an assistant, and you send the agenda. We have templates for the agenda, and you ask who's going to be at the meeting, who will be present. And when they come back, Harriet Schultz, and then you go to the website and she's a third vice president, assistant manager, you still need to practice, but I wouldn't go to the meeting. It's a waste of time. You want at least 2 partners, tax, audit, business development, audit. Normally it's audit, or the guys that drive the deals, audit partners drive the deal. But his meeting was in a big room, 3 partners. For $1 billion deal, he should have had more than 3 partners. And again, for those of you that have been with big companies or are currently with a big company, it's not the same because you're not riding on their coattails. You're not riding on their balance sheet. And for some of you, it'll be a shock. The way they treat you as opposed to when you work for the $1 billion organization. It'll be a shock. Okay, the next thing, takeaway, is that he's maybe the only guy that you're going to hear that says it out loud. Practice. For every hour that I'm with you in this week, I practiced at least an hour and a half before you got here. And I know these 2,400 slides in a coma. I haven't been asked a question by one of you in 20 years that I didn't know the answer to. But I still practice. And if I still practice, you should practice. And the kids that do the best practice. And he made mention of the fact Rotary. At the end, in the close, like sex, I tell you at the end, most of you need improvisation. You should go take free classes in acting at a junior college or a college because you couldn't give away a sex in a lumber camp. Okay, you just shitty sales skills. Second, join Rotary, and I tell everybody this Rotary, and you want to be on 1 or 2 committees. You want to be on the finance committee and you want to be on the membership committee. Why? Because if anybody's worth the shit coming through the front door, you're going to see them, and you're going to also see how much money they're worth. Some guys look better than they really are. Rotary, okay? And you want to be in Rotary, or excuse me, not improv, Rotary, thank you. Toastmasters, and Toastmasters, you want to not just sit, because there's two or three classifications of Toastmaster. You want the one that participates, where they say, this is a gold bar, sell it to me. That part, not the one to just sit back there and review everything. Toastmasters, because your communication skills are shit. Now, they're not shit for what you're doing now, but you don't get to be a billionaire if you can't talk. Remember, leadership is me getting you to do what I want you to do when I want you to do it. And now the good news is 98% of the high performance people on the planet are all introverts. You got a chance. Only 2% of us are extroverts, and only 10% of that 2% are alpha male like me. If your communication skills get 5% as good as mine, it's an instant billionaire. 5% as good as mine, it's an instant billionaire. Just like 2,000, 5%, you're an instant billionaire. Right now, there's nobody that has a 0.5% as good as my communication skills. And I failed public speaking in high school. I failed public speaking the first time I took it in university, and I got a D the second time. And when I went back many, many years ago to get that alumni award, I made sure I went to my fucking public speaking teacher. Told her if you could shove it up where the sun doesn't, not up her ass, that'd be too comfortable, up the other part. Okay, so, and Deb's, he's pretty polished, He's not bad. He's no Laurence Olivier, but he's not bad, okay? He's a lot better than some of the kids you're going to see. You're going to say, how in the fuck did they do deals? It's Allah's will. I truly believe. I don't know how they fucking did deals because they can't even speak. But I know the numbers because I see the numbers, okay? Another takeaway is that because, ostensibly he's already got money, but he wants to do it away from the rich, big boss that he had, which arguably he made that guy multi-billion. Okay, now questions about him from you. Come on, Nigeria, or I'll tell him what you and I have in common. No questions about him. Yes? Yes, sir.
This was more of just an observation, but I think to me, one thing that really struck me is talked about when he leaving this place, the environment here, where you're getting a dose of Dan every day and then you go back home.
He's right about that.
He said expect to be alone much of the time.
Yeah, it's lonely at the top. The guys, when you read about Elon Musk spending his birthday pissing and moaning about being alone and working 120, 140-hour weeks, and he's already a rich guy, the guys that I personally know, there are no intimacies at the top. Eagles fly alone. That's an old cheap cliche, but they do. They fly alone. Eagles fly above the storms. Eagles don't look for shelter like other birds in the rain. eagles fly above the shit. And I can honestly say that I've only met one of my neighbors in 35 years, one, and I have no intention of meeting any others.
When he says after he met with you, his goals went 10x.
He wanted to build $100 million enterprise value.
What did you say to him?
I said, you wasted your money coming here. You could do that just, stepping on your own dick for the next 8 or 10 years. I'm not interested in that. I said, in the next 3 years, you can do easily $1 billion. He's in the right place where the multiples are a lot higher. I mean, he's operating where multiples are 15, 20 times EBITDA, the exit, and he's also paying more, but we're in a, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence and that kind of stuff, which is all part of IT, is crazy. It's craziness. And of course, the biggest craziness is, stuff like Facebook and that kind of thing. Of course, Amazon was one of the first $1 trillion companies. It's backed off from there, but which isn't, that's not internet money. It's e-commerce, but I mean, he's bricks and mortar too. There's so many different opportunities, and one of the things that subsequent to him filming this is that he found that there were niches in the IT that he didn't even know existed, because those names and those references he made when we filmed this were stuff that his big company did. But just because the big company did, I mean, there's a new venture born, not every minute, but certainly every day in IT, and so he's morphed that a little. Yes, sir.
Has he done a deal yet?
Well, he's right now as we speak. He's got 3 LOIs that are come to fruition. And I tell you not to do more than one deal at a time. I'll make this speech now. You're going to come back in the first few weeks, and you're going to find 5 deals. And you're going to try to do. You're going to tell me in the report and or on the Zoom call that you're going to want to do all 5. And I'm going to tell you no. And the reason no is because you bring 5 deals to me, the banker. I'm going to cross-collateralize all 5 deals. Meaning deal 1 is collateral for deal 2, deal 2 is collateral for deal 5, deal 5 is deal, okay. And then deal 4 falls out. And so you tell Mr. Banker, but deal, and I need more collateral now. Because he's already got it approved through credit committee with $6 billion of collateral, and now you only got $4.5 billion. Doesn't matter that it's a smaller deal. So, and normally 4 deals fall out, not 1. And then you got to start all over again. And the system is based on 1 small deal, then 2x, then 3x, then 5x, then 8x, then 10x. 10x meaning 10 times the size of the first deal, building up equity in all the deals along the line. Now that you got 10 deals, and let's say you got your portion of it, not excluding your board of directors, is 7, 8, 10 million bucks. Let's make it 10 to make it simple numbers. You got 10 million. Now private equity, family offices, angel investors, which don't exist, are all investors of last resort. But at least if you got 10 million bucks and the group has got 15 million in equity, you have more of a bargaining chip when you're negotiating with private money.
When you spoke about banks funding, is it with your debt coverage ratio, are you finding the banks happy with interest alone, or do they want amortization?
Oh yeah, that's the interest part.
Which builds your equity.
Yeah. But the 1.35, that's just interest alone.
That's just interest.
That's just interest. What you want, and we'll show you the best way to structure a deal. I learned from the Onassis people. You name the price, Mr. Pena, we name the terms. I never forgot that. It's not the only thing I learned from the Greeks, but it's one of the things I learned, okay? So you want to amortize it. You want interest only for 5 years. Principal balloon at the end. You want amortization over 30, and you can get 30-year amortization today on a regular deal, not a fucking piece of property. Are you crazy? 30-year. They're fucking nuts. And if anybody gave me 30-year, I'd run to Brazil with all the fucking money. So you want to push out the payment as far as possible. A principal payment, I mean, okay? They call it balloon. They call it a lot of different things, okay? But you want the amortization as low payments as possible. And we've got guys, you're going to hear a couple guys, no payments for 2 years. None, 0. I said, what the fucking brain dead?
Including interest.
Huh? No interest, no nothing.
Oh, no payment.
No payment. Okay, does no mean the same in Australia as it? Yeah. Hey, no. I thought the Adelaide guy was thick as 2 fucking short planks. But I mean, Adelaide's not the only place in the world, I guess. You know, not all the stories are true about Australia, but a lot of them are. Okay. No payments, nothing. Nothing. But if you don't ask, you don't get. You know, if you don't, well, now that you ask for kinky sex. In my day, you didn't ask so much. But I mean, if you don't ask, you're not going to do it. You know, if you want to go to suck the chrome off a fucking trailer hitch, you got to ask her. If you don't ask, you don't get. In the infamous words of Bruce the Whipple, you don't ask, you don't get. If you don't ask for non-recourse, I'm going to write an email that we got some thick shits here from to Jason, the guy, and he's real cocky when you see him on the screen. He's sitting back there about when he's talking about non-recourse. He couldn't fucking, he never heard of non-recourse and he couldn't spell non. And that's the damn truth. And he's coming to the seminar next month. No, we're going to keep talking. He's coming to the seminar next month. And and why do they come? Because default's a motherfucker. And even though he's done 20, 25, 30 million in deals now, he's still, nobody believes him. Nobody believes him. He put no money up. Nobody believes him. He didn't guarantee the loans. Nobody believes him. They never heard of non-recourse. They don't know from non-recourse. They think it's something special in Adelaide or something. Some kind of special zone they got down there for retards in Australia or some shit. And we had another guy from Adelaide the last seminar, and he says, who sounded just like him, because the accent's, for those of you, it's a different kind of accent, okay? And he said, by God, I heard it from his, and he's gonna go straight back to Adelaide. He says there's only 4 fucking banks. So, you know, so default's a bitch, no matter how experienced you are. And but the bigger the deals, the longer it takes. But it's the same paperwork for a $50 million deal or a $5 million deal or a $5 billion deal. If you're not international and you don't allow the governments, it's not that you have a choice to keep the governments out, but if the governments haven't deemed this is a special area that we're going to give special,
Can I ask why it is that the bank want, collateral in your house and everything else when you're borrowing, say, $5 or $10 million, but if you want $100 million,
they don't want anything.
Not for anything.
Yeah, and you won't even guarantee it. Yeah. Well, I mean, they wanted all that stuff from Jason. Jason didn't give him anything. But you're going to hear him, and the way he says it with his accent, you got to hang tough. You got to act as if you don't need the money. But he wasn't sucking on a exhaust pipe. He had a business that was a good business. And it's in some respects, it's harder to hang tough because they know you have other collateral. Some of the doctors that are doing medical roll-ups, they want your regular practice. I say, no, absolutely not. Every deal stands on its own 2 feet. Every deal cash flows, meaning free cash flow covers debt service. And anything other than that, and if it covers it at like 1.5 to 1, there's no reason other than they just want to tick more boxes on their loan form. So it's that much more secure, Yes, sir.
What about pursuing multiple deals if you're financing them all separate?
No, because if you're not going to lie, the bank forms are going to say, what other financings are you engaged in?
Even though it's tied to separate.
Yeah, well, and that's federal bank fraud in America. You go to jail. Most of the guys on that wall are in jail for bank fraud. They filled out paperwork, signed shit they shouldn't have signed. Half of them are bank fraud, half of them are selling illegal securities because you got a stupid lawyer from Adelaide to write you an opinion that you're not selling securities, and you paid him $3,000 for it, right? Well, that $3,000 you can wipe your butt with, because you are selling securities. And there's such a disclaimer down at the bottom that they have no real liability, so they'll put any goddamn thing you want on paper. I used to carry around a letter from one of the major law firms in the world that ultimately I had to put in plastic. I used it so much, and it said, to whom it may concern, Mr. Pena has never engaged in a transaction he didn't complete by 100% finance. I carried that for 15 years. It looked like the Dead Sea Scrolls. I finally had to put it in plastic. But it was true. I didn't always pay the guys when they wanted to get paid, but I always paid them. And when you get the PwCs and the EYs and the various law firms comfortable, and they lift their skirts up for you, then you're an instant billionaire. Okay.